Now at 10, future dentists don their white coats in Joplin as they get ready to begin dental school this year. Plus, the third annual Kids Fest takes place at Ron's Supermarket in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And talks have concluded in Alaska between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. What both leaders had to say about their conversation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, some Joplin residents may have had their mail go up in flames this morning. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Anthony Saviello. Around 10:45 a.m. this morning, reports came in about a mail vehicle on fire in the Rosedale neighborhood in Joplin. Joplin police say the mail carrier was out for delivery but not injured. The mail carrier was not in the vehicle when it began to catch fire. We are told the fire began in the engine compartment of the vehicle. We are told a lot of mail was saved before the vehicle was engulfed in flames. Well, let's go ahead and check in with Chris Warner for a first look at our weather.
Yeah, we had a pretty decent day for us out there. It was hot, though, and we've had those high heat index values. A look from earlier this afternoon, downtown Pittsburgh. You can see we had partly cloudy skies, and that was the expected case there. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin, looking back to the north again a little earlier today. Plenty of folks out on the road, and I guarantee you every last one of them probably had that AC cranked up. All right, 75 where we started yesterday, well above average there, and 7 degrees above average, where we made it to 98 yesterday. Still not to record levels, which is, that's fine, but still hot. Our average high is again about 90, and since Thursday we've just seen temperatures climbing and staying hot, and they will continue to do so. Heat advisories across the entire region. Again, the latest of these are running through Monday, which we'll break down for you here in a little bit later. As we go through the rest of the evening, we're looking at clear skies or mostly clear skies. We'll be back into the low 80s by 11, and we're starting our day once again already above normal, mid-70s by 6 and near 80 by 8 o'clock in the morning. Do have some pop-up storm chances here and there, and eventually we will get some relief from the heat. Go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Anthony?
Chris, thanks. President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin did not reach a deal over the war in Ukraine at their meeting in Alaska. Torian Small has details on what is next for the world leaders involved for peace to be achieved.
President Trump hit the greens 1 day after rolling out the red carpet in Alaska for Russian President Vladimir Putin. The moment marked an end to years of isolation for Putin on the world stage.
There's apparent that sooner or later we had to amend the situation to move on from the confrontation to dialogue.
Following the nearly 2.5-hour-long closed-door talk with the Russian president, Trump touted progress.
There were many points that we agreed on, most of them I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite got there.
But ended their joint appearance after 12 minutes.
Next time in Moscow.
Without questions or any specifics. Zelensky on social media encouraged the U.S. to strengthen sanctions on Russia if Putin doesn't commit to a meeting between the three leaders. But speaking to Fox News, Trump says the next move is Zelensky's.
Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done.
Sam Vinograd is a CBS News national security contributor.
And there are certainly concerns that heading into the Oval Office meeting between Trump and Zelensky on Monday, that Trump will try to bully President Zelensky into accepting the contours of the deal that he hammered out with President Putin.
CBS News has learned President Zelensky has received a lot of coaching on how to interact with President Trump since their last Oval Office meeting in February. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Well, the school year is getting underway, and Kansas City University's dentistry students in Joplin participated this afternoon in their traditional white coating ceremony. 80 dental students were welcomed with this white coat ceremony. The ceremony marks their official start of dental school. While the ceremony takes place every year, there's one particular student who stands out among the rest.
Every time they see a white coat, I hope that they can relate that to trust, and that we here, the students at KCU, really care about the community and the well-being of others and improving their lives.
Mijangos is a former Marine and mother of 3 looking to take on dental school as her next challenge. Well, fans of Pitt State made their way out to Ron's Supermarket today for the 3rd annual Ron's Supermarket Kids Fest. The day was filled with games, activities, and food for kids and their families with special guest appearances from the Pitt State football team.
We had soccer, we had volleyball, we have cheer, dance, band, and we've got all the seniors on the football team out here. And Pittsburgh is very lucky. We have a wonderful group of students here in town.
All of this took place in the Ron Supermarket parking lot. Well, Sudstock 2025 is here in Carthage, Missouri. The event put on by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri aims to provide good, clean fun for the entire family. Free to attend, the event also featured inflatables, foam cannons, hot dogs, and much more.
We have our big top tent, and under there we have free nachos, popcorn from Access Family, and we have lots of vendors under there. And at 1:30 we'll have a puppet show, and specifically talking about the harms of vaping, because that's what we're trying to teach kids and parents today.
The Alliance of Southwest Missouri says their purpose is to advance the well-being of kids and the grown-ups in their lives throughout Southwest Missouri. That's fine. I can just say we'll be right back or something like that. Do you want to do that? I can just say, hey, we'll be right back after this. Let's do that. Where are you at? 936? All right. I think I got to 2300. What's your biggest fruit? A coconut? Pineapple? Oh, grapefruit. Dragon fruit. Yeah, I'm ready. More news when we come back. Well, you may have already gotten the notification from your pharmacy or your doctor to schedule a flu shot. Chris Bryant spoke with a medical specialist about what to expect from this upcoming flu season.
The new flu season is expected to start in October, and in Missouri, during the previous flu season, influenza A was the most common strain that doctors treated.
It seems like every year the flu season sort of extends further and further into the spring months. So that's something to be aware of, and when you're deciding about when to get the vaccine, I think that's a question I get a lot. And I used to say, well, as soon as it's available, maybe you should get it. But it's a timing issue too, because that flu season does extend sometimes into May.
According to the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, in 2024 and 2025, the flu season saw higher cases than the previous year. In total, there was a total of just over 137,000 cases of the flu in the season. When it comes to deciding whether to get vaccinated, Dr. Taylor Nelson with the University of Missouri Health says it isn't just about protecting yourself.
Individual level, it's of course important to protect yourself, but you're also protecting your loved ones, your friends, people you don't even know who may have a higher risk for more severe infection.
The CDC recommends that most people get the flu shot starting in September or October, and with those that are high risk of severe complications, getting them in early September. In addition, it's important to note that the flu vaccine takes about 2 weeks to become effective. Therefore, it's best to get vaccinated early in the flu season to ensure maximum protection.
No vaccine is perfect. Certainly, there are times where we have people who get infections who've had the vaccine. And so, we're not shooting for 100% protection necessarily. But if you do get the vaccine, typically you'll have a milder illness as well.
Healthcare providers say if you have questions or concerns about getting a flu shot, it's best to talk with your healthcare providers when it comes to your concerns.
Very, very rare exceptions. Someone who is truly allergic to maybe the vaccine components that are used, and not just egg-based. We do have non-egg-based vaccines. And so there are many, many times we can get around any potential concerns for allergies. So I think essentially anybody who's over the age of 6 months, in particular, it's important if you do have those, those comorbidities, heart conditions, lung conditions, advanced ages, those kinds of things, because the flu can actually cause a more severe illness and sometimes even death.
Well, the Department of Health and Human Services is reinstating the task force on safer childhood vaccines following a lawsuit from an anti-vaccine group once led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., led by the director of the National Institutes of Health. Alongside the CDC and FDA, the task force will review vaccine development, distribution, and monitoring, and report to Congress within 2 years. But many vaccine experts are skeptical, saying childhood vaccines are already among the most closely studied and safely administered medicines. A record low number of Americans are drinking alcohol these days. A new poll from Gallup found just 54% of Americans said they consume alcohol at all. Among those who drink, a record low of 24% said they had a drink in the past 24 hours, while 40% said it had been more than a week since they last had any alcohol. That's the highest figure Gallup has recorded since 2000. Meanwhile, for the first time, a majority of Americans say having even 1 or 2 drinks per day is bad for your health. More news when we come back.
Another hot day across the region as temperatures remained above normal for us, and that will regrettably be the trend through this weekend and into at least the start of the next work week. Let's start with a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh from earlier today. Again, partly cloudy skies, otherwise not too bad, at least from the skies perspective, but down here at the surface, heat index values are climbing and we do have heat advisories. Now again, 5 different weather service offices cover our region. All of these still have varying expiration times. Springfield, though, still continuing through Monday at 8 o'clock. Tulsa's gone ahead and gone out not just for our Saturday, but for Sunday as well. And the others are still set to expire later, but could very well and would not be out of the question for them to be reissued heading into our Sunday. Future track, we could start seeing as we head into our Sunday afternoon an isolated pop-up shower or rumble of thunder. It's a very low chance, but it's a little better than what we were looking at on Friday for these pop-up storm chances, but again, the majority of us, unfortunately, will remain dry. Now, we go into our Monday, things do change up a bit. Temperature-wise, they don't, but by Monday afternoon, we're looking at least right now at maybe some slightly better pop-up storm chances. Now, again, a number of us will remain dry, and with pop-up storms, remember, it does not a guarantee that you will see rain in these exact locations, but it is at least a possibility as we head into our Monday, and then we'll see that chance return as we roll into Tuesday. Our heat index values, though, still are just, I don't know what this is, but it is uncomfortable. We know that much. 105, getting close to 110 again as we roll into Sunday afternoon. We head into Monday afternoon, and if you thought it was going to be hot again, you would be correct. Those heat index values, again, Monday, even on Friday, was still looking to be a pretty toasty day heat index value-wise, still looking to be one of the hotter days with a few more of us getting close to 110 degrees on those heat index values. And that could carry into Tuesday, but we'll start to see some gradual improvements once we go from Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. As for the rest of our evening tonight, back into the mid-70s, so above normal temperatures, few clouds here and there. We'll have a south breeze around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Heading into tomorrow, again, putting on at least 10% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Otherwise, that is awful, but that is our high. Upper 90s, some of us maybe right at 100. Southwest winds 5 to 10. Into Sunday night, still a few clouds, still well above normal temperatures, mid-70s. Winds will be calm. And as we roll into Monday, again, 10-20% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Hopefully that will hold for us because at least some kind of rain would be nice, but still dangerously hot as we push close to 100. And this is a look from a little earlier today. This is Category 5 Hurricane Aaron out in the Atlantic. So at this time, it was winds of about 160 miles an hour. That eye wall very well defined out there. And as we take a look at the course, we talked about what possibilities were out there and what other good possibilities. There was a bad side and a good side. The good side looks to be working in our favor, but still a Category 5 hurricane heading into Sunday morning. Still major hurricanes, Category 4 going as we head into Monday evening and Tuesday morning, but it does get somewhat close to some of the islands out here, so we got to watch that. But the good news again is it's still looking to turn away from the New England states, which is absolutely good news because a direct hit up there could be pretty devastating. Dangerous heat again through at least Tuesday. Take a look at Wednesday, though. Even better rain chances there. Still low, but they're there, and our temperatures dropping back near or a little below average as we roll into the second half of next week. Anthony?
Chris, thanks. The Missouri Health Department is investigating after a water skier at Lake of the Ozarks became infected with a brain-eating amoeba. That patient was in intensive care at a local hospital at last check. Emma McDarris spoke with a doctor to learn more about the waterborne infection.
There is a risk, but it is a low risk, very low risk. As I mentioned, there have been just a handful of cases in many years, and there are billions of exposures every year. So probably
the amoeba can appear in any fresh, warm water, including lakes, streams, rivers, and underchlorinated pools. Swimmers ingest the bacteria through their nose and can start feeling the symptoms 1 to 12 days after exposure.
It's a brain inflammation or brain infection, so headache, fever, stiff neck, vomiting, change in the mental status of the patient, confusion, coma, seizures.
There are a few ways swimmers can try and keep the bacteria out of their body.
Try to keep the nose shut or use nose clips to prevent that the amoeba from entering the nose. And also keep good maintenance of pools and water systems with good chlorination.
The lake area is gearing up for the annual Lake of the Ozarks shootout next weekend, which normally brings in extra business. City officials say they have received some worried calls, but a State Park Marina employee I spoke to off camera said they haven't had any visitors calling and canceling their rentals.
A new study warns climate change could make satellites more vulnerable to solar storms, threatening GPS and internet service. Researchers say rising carbon dioxide is making the upper atmosphere thinner. That means solar storms could cause bigger density spikes, knocking satellites off orbit or shortening their lives. Scientists warn designs need to adapt now because storms won't impact the atmosphere the same way in 30 years. They add stronger impacts could also make space junk worse. Makeup fans, Target and Ulta Beauty are ending their years-long partnership. More than 600 Ulta mini beauty shops have operated within Target stores since 2021. Ulta's merchandise was also added to Target's website. In a statement, Target says they are proud of the experience the companies delivered together. Ulta also sharing a statement saying the partnership was one of the ways they brought the power of beauty to customers nationwide. Customers still have some time before Ulta goes away. The plan is for the partnership to end next August. Still ahead, the Royals and Cardinals have major league matchups today, and Kansas City Chiefs have some pretty standout performances in yesterday's preseason game. Ben McLeish has those stories and more next.
In Major League Baseball, the Royals and Cardinals have home matchups today. Kansas City took down Chicago 3-1 in yesterday's series opener. Now they'll look to clinch the series with Michael Lorenzen on the mound. A win tonight would put the Royals above 500. They currently sit just 4 games out of a wild card spot, so these games against one of the Major League's worst teams are huge. KC has 6 games with the AL Central leading Tigers to close out the month of August, so the Royals need to capitalize against lesser opponents. But tonight's game is still scoreless in the first. The Cardinals are in a very similar spot to the Royals. They're 1 game below 500. Both teams have been hovering around that mark for the past month. And St. Louis has a tough matchup tonight against the New York Yankees. The Redbirds can help out the Royals tonight because the Yankees are the team holding that last AL wildcard spot. Cards are also in their own wildcard race, just 3.5 games behind the scuffling Mets. But right now, the Yankees already jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first. Last night, the Kansas City Chiefs took on the Seahawks in the second preseason game. And this one was definitely more exciting for Seattle fans, as the Seahawks dominated 33-16. But we all know preseason games don't count for much. We did get to see some nice performances yesterday, though, including at the QB position. Career journeyman Gardner Minshew signed a 1-year deal with the Chiefs this offseason. Here he connects with tight end Robert Tonyan for a touchdown. Tunyan's another guy with lots of starting experience. He could play a role for the Chiefs this season. And a guy like Gardner Minshew is very valuable if Patrick Mahomes were to go down for a few weeks. You can trust Minshew to come in and hold his own. But altogether, not a super exciting game for Kansas City. The Chiefs' second and third team defenses had trouble stopping the Seattle offense, giving up 268 yards on the ground. But again, I wouldn't read too much into these games. Here's the game's box score. Minshew and Tonyan had nice performances, and the rookie class has some production as well. 7th round running back Rashard Smith totals 38 yards, and every defensive selection, Norman Lott, Williams, Gillott, and Bassa, make an impact on the stat sheet. On the PGA Tour, the league's top golfers wrap up day 3 of the BMW Championship. Here's the leaderboard heading into the final round, and Robert McIntyre, shooting 16 under, has a commanding 4-stroke lead over the world's #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler. Third place is Ludwig Oberg at 10 under. It's mostly a 3-man race for the final 18 holes, but obviously anything can happen. McIntyre will be under a lot of pressure to close this one out, with Scheffler breathing down his neck. Last weekend, we saw Tommy Fleetwood give up his lead on the final day, so we should have an exciting final round of the BMW Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to the Chiefs real quick here, you're new to town, you're new to the area, gonna have to start rooting for the Chiefs a little bit. Are you excited to kind of watch them this season, be a little bit more focused on them this season?
Yeah, I mean, they've been probably the best team in the NFL for the past 5 years if you take everything into consideration. They're coming off of, obviously, a disappointing Super Bowl performance, but what brought them there was incredibly impressive, and I expect them to have another pretty good season this year.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
All right, again, continuing with dangerous heat advisories through at least Monday evening. Heat index value still up to 110. Some isolated pop-up storm chances out there. And then by the second half of next week, we finally see the heat dome move off to the west, and that brings our temperatures back down near or maybe even a pinch below normal. So just a few more days of this, and we'll finally be able to get some rest and a break from the heat.
Sounds good, Chris. Well, unfortunately, no one matched all the winning numbers in Wednesday's Powerball drawing, and now the jackpot has grown even bigger. The biggest jackpot so far this year, the Powerball is at $526 million. The next drawing is today. The estimated cash value will be a $565 million jackpot, and it is $258.8 million cash guaranteed. Your odds of winning are $292 million. The largest Powerball jackpot ever was upwards of $2 billion in November of 2022. That's been our time this evening. We're right back here on Sunday tomorrow for KOAM News at 10. From all of us here, have a great night.